Hello guys, this video we will be talking about King Paimon. We are diving a little bit into the Goetia, or as the title says, we're diving deep into the Goetia and talk about how Paimon may have an influence on your life, how Paimon may impact your life. So for me personally, and I've talked with others about it, that particular spirit may have a huge influence on your creative output. So whatever you create, it can be a painting, for example. It can be a piece of music, for example. But it can also be anything you create. So if you like to create things with your bare hands, anything you create in your house, for example, outside of your house, this can also be a very creative act. So I'm not strictly reducing that information to the artistic realm. Also, although as you know, I'm a musician and a writer, so for me, the spirits are always when I create something, when I let the energies flow through me. Whenever I write, I know the spirits that I'm focusing on, the spirits I'm connecting with, they are around me. I wanna tie in, or I want to mention some information from Greek mythology, the 9 muses. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the 9 muses. These are called the 9 muses of inspiration. So in the past, artists all across history basically were in touch, or many artists were in touch with these spirits, or spirits. Let's just call them spirits of inspiration, and they even made offerings. They even made offerings to the spirits in some form. Also, the final creative product is a symbol, or like a way to say thank you to the spirits for allowing that divine creative energy to flow through you. And this is an important point. For some of us, it may flow through us naturally. So for me, it has always been that way. I was in my musical projects. I was quite often the one coming up with the ideas. I was mainly when it comes to guitar, I was mainly the riff machine basically, or the guy coming up with melodies. Even for the vocals, I also helped singers shape their vocals a little bit, although I'm not a singer, of course, but that was always, I had this capacity to give shape to something that has not existed before. So creating basically just from the power of my mind, but more than that, I always regarded creativity, or the creative output, as more than just the work of your mind, the cognitive faculties employed in giving shape to an idea. So I always thought there was something coming through me. And of course, those of you who can relate to that know that on certain days it's not there, it's not coming, it's not flowing through you, as on other days where you can come up with great ideas and give shape to great ideas. So that's an important point I wanted to make. And when you connect with Paimon, you can call him. You can call Paimon to basically help you in the creative realm. Of course, other spirits may be able to do that as well. For example, when I worked with Belial and wrote my book, as you know, it is a book dedicated to more than one spirit, although it is called, I call it my Paimon book, because Paimon was the initial inspiration to write the book, but there are more spirits in it than King Paimon. So what I wanted to say is, other spirits may also be present in the creative process, but they may not. With Paimon, it's completely different from my perspective. I perceive it as if he has some kind of an interest, or he keeps being drawn to my creative activities. So which I have not really, which I don't really feel with the other spirits. So for example, he keeps showing up in form of a shadow swirling around me when making music, and he's not showing up when I'm not working with him. So let's say I work with him on Monday or at one day, and then let's say on Tuesday or Wednesday night I've switched off all the lights, and I'm immersed in my musical endeavors, and I see this spirit swirling around, this shadow moving through the air. See them in the peripheral vision, in my peripheral vision. And this has not, as far as I can recall, this has not happened. This has not happened with the other spirits. So, what does it mean? I don't know what it means, but I think Paimon keeps being drawn to these musical activities. I don't know if it happens also when you engage in other creative acts. You have to try it out, and of course, ask Paimon to guide you in your creative pursuit, in your creative outlet, and see if that also happens to you, or happens in your practice working with the spirit. I've talked with others, and they have confirmed that this has also happened to them. So it seems to be. So my personal experiences don't seem to be an exception in that case, and this is very interesting. This is in fact very interesting, because one person even mentioned he had the same experience of that shadow flowing through the air while he was engaging in making music. So, which is absolutely, from my perspective, because I thought, okay, maybe it's just my way of connecting with the spirit, but it's not. So it seems to happen to others as well. Good. How can you thank the spirit? Thank the spirit through the work that you have produced, through your creative product, so to speak. What you create may directly be a symbol of the connection with the spirit. And it is basically whatever you create is a product of the act of channeling that information. Of course, you need some kind of skill. You need some kind of skill set. So any skill that you have worked on very hard, And if you have devoted a lot of time to that, maybe the Spirit is also more willing to work with you on following this, going along that path with you together. See it or give that a try. Maybe ask the Spirit Paimon first to guide you, and then of course build a relationship first with the Spirit before you do that. And I mean, if you want to know more about how to approach the Spirit, how to build a relationship, how to channel information and stuff like that, just you can buy my ebook. That will be a good starting point, I would say. I'm selling it for €20 right now. Just go to my website, linked in the channel description, and then that will be a very good basis, because on more than 300 pages I describe a lot of my spirit contact experiences, and you can relate to the process of how I do it, how I receive the signs, and then you need to interpret the signs later on when things in your environment, in your physical environment, are changing. So it's a lot of working with the spirits, understanding the signs, and finding yourself. And the process is a long journey. It takes a long time, and there are, of course, happens to all of us. There are setbacks. There are things that may not work out the way you planned it. But eventually, if you stick to whatever you have envisioned for yourself, whatever you see for yourself in the future, or however you perceive yourself as a human being, as a spiritual being, if you stick to that and stay on your path, stay true to yourself, basically, then and you continue working with the Spirit, then it will guide you towards a goal, an objective that you can attain, and that will enrich your life in some form. Whenever, also one point I want to touch briefly on, I've also talked about that in other videos, is how I see that spirit contact experience, or how I understand that spirit contact experience. I see it basically, I see the spirits of the Goetia as, let's say, I see them as imprints in our unconscious mind. So the unconscious mind, of course, being, how can you say that? The unconscious mind being, of course, private to the person making experiences, due to all of your life experiences that you have lived through, some of them suppressed, some of them more conscious, some of them are beneath the surface, of course. So there's this private aspect of your unconscious self, but there's also this, let's say, that more collective form of unconscious, or that form of consciousness, basically, that unites all living beings, humans or other entities. And if you tap into that part of the unconscious self, or into that type of consciousness, I think the imprint of the spirit can be found in that form of consciousness. So what you're basically doing with the gazing at the sigil, by gazing at the sigil, you're diving deeper, or you're gazing at the sigil, you are tuning more and more out of your direct focused conscious awareness, flowing more downward into that unconscious realm, basically. And what you find is, in that unconscious realm, you find these imprints of the spirits. these imprints that act as gates into their world. You can also see them as a shape that you can activate, and by activating that shape through the sigil, you dive deeper into the unconscious self, or into the deeper layers of our unconscious, or of that type of consciousness, so to speak. You activate that imprint, and it's more like it's like a download process being activated. That can take completely different forms, whatever your capacity or whatever your capacities are. Can you visualize things very well? Are you more of an auditory type of person? So these, let's say, and also I think I've called them that way in my book. I think I've written about these knowledge packages that unfold in the process of working with these spirits. So the imprint gets activated, and then a knowledge package gets unfolded or unfolds, and it unfolds in a very personal way. So that unfolding process is given shape depending on your depending on the spirit you're working with, depending on your life circumstances, depending on everything, basically. So it's a bit vague, I know, but I have already talked for almost 20 minutes, 17 minutes right now. So, and if you want to know more, I've described a lot of that stuff in my book. Some of that knowledge is a little bit abstract, I know, but this abstract form I use these abstract concepts. I like to use them just to make it accessible, things that are difficult to conceptualize, you know. So I'm not on purpose trying to make it complicated or anything like that. Actually, I'm quite the opposite. I want to make it as easy as possible, and as easy to understand as possible. And that's the best I can offer you right now. Of course, I'm on my own personal journey as well, and I hope I can pass on more knowledge to you guys. Again, like, subscribe, and give a thumbs up, of course, and leave a comment. Don't forget that. Leave a comment. Engage in the channel discussion if you like, and buy my book, of course. I mean, I'm also making that to eventually maybe at some point make a living from my work in the occult, but as you know, I'm also a musician, as I've talked about that in this video also. So music, the creative, the arts, very important to me, and the occult is just another, the occult is just another aspect of the whole thing for me. It is not that much of a difference. So when I'm making music, I'm in touch with the non-physical aspects of reality, and when I'm directly sitting in my circle, or not using a circle at all, connecting with the spirit to thank the spirit for their guidance, I'm in a very similar state of mind, basically. So of course, when I'm practicing the guitar, that's a different mindset that you need. You're focusing on your skill set. But when you're using the instrument to bring things to the surface, that's the creative act, and you let the divine powers flow through you to give shape to whatever you want to create, or give shape to whatever you have envisioned in your mind. And that's the same process that applies to anything in life. So whatever you want to experience, you need to see it first. You need to envision it first. Guys, take care and talk to you soon. Goodbye. Cheers.